Hello and welcome to episode 223 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian,
And I'm James.
and we are finally, hopefully, maybe going to work our way through the end of March of the Machine spoilers, just in time for all of Aftermath to have already been spoiled on the YouTubes.
Oopsies.
Oopsies. So yeah, we're gonna hopefully get through those. I'm hopefully gonna remember to change the show title to say this is part 3.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully listeners
yeah.
can look at the dates and realize that the last one was part 2 and not just more of
the
2
same.
weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're smart. They'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
I should do a little bit of work to do it right.
Yeah.
So if you want to reach out to us on social media, say hi, any of that stuff, all of that, all those links are in the description.
Yeah, hit us up. Let us know what you think about this set now that you've had a chance to play with it. Let us know. I don't know if we're going to do our typical limited like wrap up like we normally do. Not wrap up, but first impressions, because by the time we get around to it, it'll be like 3 weeks in and the format will basically be solved. So
Yeah.
we probably not going
what the
to.
format is.
All right, maybe we'll talk some limited stuff.
Well, we talked about it in the pre-show.
We did.
If people, some like my thoughts are my early drafts.
Yeah. So if you're a patron, you can listen to our thoughts on the limited format in the pre-show, and if you're interested in that, you can become a patron at patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. You can chip a couple bucks in, help to support the show, and you get access to the pre-show. Typically, it's just us kind of catching up and making sure all our equipment works, but occasionally we do throw some tidbits of like actual Magic content in there, like this week where we talked about limited. Patrons also get access to our show notes, so you get a sneak peek about what the upcoming week's show is going to be about, and you get put on my mailing list for when I have stuff to send out to you guys. So if you appreciate what we do and want to support the show, or if you are super selfish and just want the sweet benefits that come along with being a patron, you can do that too. Chip a couple bucks in. Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Another way you can support us is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Follow that link on over to TCG player, and anything you purchase will help to support the show. We'll get a small portion of whatever your checkout total is, and that would help us out as well. We also have our YouTube channel, CasualTryHardMTG on YouTube. Head on over there. Brian's got limited content coming out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can also watch a video version of this show on Thursdays. And I've been slacking a little bit lately. I really haven't had a whole lot of time to get onto Arena, so I didn't have anything recorded for this week. But normally I do Tomfoolery Tuesdays on Tuesdays, where I play just kind of whatever I feel like playing and constructed, whether it's Brawl or Explorer or whatever I feel like. If I come across a sweet list, play it then, so you can check that out as well. Also, if you got any decks that you want me to play on Tomfoolery Tuesdays, you can hit us up on social media and let me know that too. If I think it's an interesting list, maybe I'll take it for a spin.
Yeah. Also on the pre-show, we had a special guest.
We did have a special guest.
Gavin doesn't like headphones.
Does not like headphones. Tried a couple times, didn't like them anytime.
No. I just got a text that he found my cup that he was drinking out of at dinner and poured it all over himself. So,
excellent.
Yeah, that thankfully did not break the glass, but did pour stuff all over himself.
Dr. Pepper?
No. Dr. Pepper's too expensive these days. Like, we're just on Kool-Aid now.
Gotcha.
I'm going back to my college days.
Tang.
Kool-Aid to save money. Oh, we're not the Tang levels, but Kool-Aid man for to save money is rough.
Yeah.
So yeah, what else do we have to talk about in housekeeping? Did we get through everything? You got through YouTube? Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Let's get into some cards.
All right. So what do we got up first? Ooh, I know. I made you put this on the list.
Yeah.
All right. So he's a little out of place because he should be on the double-sided cards, but Atali Primal Conqueror is 5 red for a 7/7. legendary creature Elder Dragon, Elder Dinosaur.
Elder Dinosaur, yep.
Elder Dinosaur. Trample. When a Tally Primal Conqueror enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. So the front side is why I wanted to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a ridiculous reanimation target.
Yeah.
It is a ridiculous thing. I had just watched a Magic AIDS video where he was playing Hazaret and Dejuru and Hazaret to spin into a Tally to cast Emrakul the Promised End, or to just cast Emrakul off of Dejuru and Hazaret.
Yeah, seems pretty good.
I watched a Saffron Olive video where he reanimated this, then would hit another one, and then cast the other one, and then hit 2 more spells. It's kind of silly.
Yeah.
It has a backside, which costs 10 mana, 9 of the Phyrexian green, and he becomes a Tally Primal Sickness. Trample Indestructible, an 11/11, and when it deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters.
Yeah, so kind of half infect.
Half infect?
Well, yeah, because it doesn't deal damage in negative or neg-1
Oh yeah,
counters.
fair. Yeah. I think playing a 7/7 dinosaur that like casts you 2 spells for free, that may have just been a free spell, is enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if you actually need the backside in constructed.
Also, since like you're trying to cheat the 7 mana, you probably don't want to pay 9 mana.
Exactly. Like I think that but it's Modern Magic, like 7 mana is not unreasonable to cast.
Right.
Like if you got to get the 5 mana to play your like reanimation spell, you can get to 7 a few turns later if you draw it. And it's way easier to cast than Atraxa.
I wonder if there's a world where you Ironcrag Feet into this. Ironcrag Feet gives you 7 mana, right?
But you cast these spells, and Ironcrag Feet says you can only cast 1 spell.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I was super excited, but then I remembered that it only lets you cast 1 spell.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not a Tally's not a great thing to like put into the battlefield with Fires of Invention.
Yeah.
But it is I think a pretty solid reanimation target. I don't know if it's like past like Pioneer good. I don't think so. Like I think just like whatever it is.
I don't know. Is it a show and tell target?
Oh, that would be interesting. You just put it in and like maybe you spin into your Gristlebrand or your I mean, I guess like just show and tell, like ponder, and then whatever your opponent gives you is fine. Yeah, it could be. I mean, the ceiling can be put in a Tally, cast Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, and like win the game.
Yeah.
I guess the floor is like hit a force, put it back in your deck.
Cast whatever you got off your opponent.
Yeah.
That's like, also like a decent thing to put in off of Goryo's Vengeance, isn't it?
Yeah, good point. Like you just bring that back, hit him for 7, you cast 2 things.
Yeah.
I think the you cast 2 things is just like so good.
Yeah.
And again, like if you're playing Goryo's and you have a Tally and Gristlebrand and like Atraxa.
Right? I mean, you could like really live the dream, and Goryo's into this, cascade into Moon Mist. Is that what transforms something?
Oh yeah, I think.
And then transform it and just kill your opponent.
I mean, you can run hot. Is Moon Mist just humans? Transform all humans.
Oh, it's just humans. Well, that's
Just
a bummer.
humans.
So you got to
Yeah,
already have a Maskwood Nexus in play.
Yeah, you got to go super hard.
Yeah. Probably not worth it.
Didgeridoo on dinosaur, or I guess didgeridoo make this a minotaur.
There you go.
This is a new minotaur hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the front side is super powerful.
Yeah.
Like more having it, seeing it played, I was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, I might have missed the boat on this guy. This is one of the few cards I just put in an order. I bought cube cards, Atalis, and Ronas were the Atali was the most expensive card at like $5.50.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ronas were like $2 and $2.50.
Yeah.
And then everything else was like a quarter. So like I'm like, okay, I'm willing to bet that Atali is decent.
Mm-hmm.
So all right. What is up next?
We have Bloodfeather Phoenix. 1 in a red for a 2/2 Phoenix with flying that can't block. And whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to an opponent or a battle, you can pay red. If you do, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains haste. This is a pretty good Phoenix, right?
It's like Super Chandra's Phoenix.
Yeah.
But Chandra's Phoenix went to your hand.
Right.
And there's like a ton of things that trigger this in Standard.
Yes.
Etchings of Kamano.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you play this, they kill it, and you're like turn 3 is just like etchings, bring this back.
Yep.
Neat. I think it's real like these cards have seen play in Standard pretty consistently.
Yeah, I mean Chandra's Phoenix definitely, that's going back a few years and definitely a different time, but that card was a staple in Standard.
Mm-hmm.
Red Bird saw tons of play.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what is the oh gosh. There's another card I'm thinking of. Like it's not as good as what is the like red 2/2 haste, the vampire that like casts cards from the graveyard?
Oh,
like the +1/+1 counter cycle.
Bloodthirsty Adversary?
Yeah. Like it's probably not as good as that, but it might be.
Well, I mean it's a different card, right?
It is. It is, but like just on like turn 2, maybe you would rather have this.
Oh yeah. No, you definitely would rather have this on turn 2. This grinds better too. Like Bloodthirsty Adversary, like that card wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be just because it's so mana hungry. I mean, it's 5 mana before you get any value out of it, and then you get a 3/3.
Which is kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this gives you just like a way to like grind, right? Yeah. You just are like, okay.
Yeah, this guy's just here to party.
Yeah, like it never goes away.
Yep.
Yep. All right, what's up next?
We have Furnace Rains. 2 in a red, sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. Until end of turn, it gains haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, create a treasure token. We get a version of this every set, basically, some sort of active treason. The reason I included it here, it's probably a little late because people have already been playing limited, but I just wanted to mention that typically when red-black sacrifice is the limited archetype, we don't get a 3 mana active treason, we get a 4 mana active treason, and this is 3 mana active treason with upside.
It can sometimes be 2 mana.
Well, not only is it sometimes 2 mana, but it's also another thing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So.
And, right, like that treasure can pay for the village rights in the set.
Mm-hmm.
So like you attack, they don't block because they want their creature back.
Yep.
You get your treasure, then you sack it and draw 2 cards.
Yep.
I mean, I think Karyazev's expertise is probably just better, but there's some part that like if you were gonna like sideboard in a card in your like red-black sack deck,
Mhm.
like Furnace Rains might be like reasonable. It's a little easier to cast. The treasure can matter
Yep.
if it gets to get in, and it constructed a lot more times. It is just going to get in,
Mhm.
so and that might be worth considering. But Karyazev's expertise is probably just a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, typically, like in Constructed, you probably don't even want Karyzeb's expertise. You want, like, Claim the Firstborn or something if you want that effect.
I've played against multiple red-black sack decks recently
Yeah.
that bring in some number of Karyazev's expertise post-board.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, what are we doing?
I don't know.
This is weird.
That is weird.
Like, I don't like this.
So yeah, nothing super insightful to say about this. I just thought it was interesting that it's cheaper than we normally get when sacrifices an archetype, and it has upside.
I guess they are balancing it with making it not uncommon for limited.
Yeah, I guess
Right? If
that's
it was
true.
just active treason at like better active treason at common, then it would be kind of silly.
Yeah.
Right, what's up next?
All right.
I'm excited to see here.
Hanger Scrounger. You're excited, huh?
Excited. I do not have the show notes open. I'm just whatever comes up, I'm just vibing with.
All right. Hanger Scrounger is 2 and a red for a 2/1 dwarf pilot. Backup 1. So when it enters the battlefield, it's going to put a +1/+1 counter on something, and then until the end of the turn, it's going to gain this other ability. And the second bit of text here is whenever this creature becomes tapped, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card.
They talked about this on the pre-sleevables. Have you seen this?
I watched the first one. I didn't have a chance, or I watched part of the first one. I didn't have a chance to get back into it.
This is one of P. Sully's favorite designs from the set.
Oh, really? Cool.
And yeah,
I'm glad I highlighted it then.
Yeah, and he pointed out, like, in limited, this works with Convoke.
Yeah.
Right. Also, being a dwarf pilot, he's from Kaladesh
with vehicles,
this works with vehicles.
Yep.
And it just lets you turn the 2-drop you were gonna maybe try to get into something bigger that gets in and like gives it that ability. So you get to go like rummage a thing, get an attack and rummage that you wouldn't otherwise have, and then have this body left over. I think it's a fine limited card, though I've not played it, but I don't know if it has a home in Constructed. But it is like an interesting effect to throw on something.
Yeah, I don't know if it's super Constructed playable. This does seem like a really fun cube card, though. Like, this could definitely enable some shenanigans in cube, I think.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I had not put it had not made into my, I did not look at it for that. I should probably go back and see if there's something.
Well, it doesn't really support any of your archetypes.
Yeah, true. Like, if it were like, if it were an artifact, then I'd be like all in.
Yeah.
If he was like a robo dwarf.
Yeah. It is a cool design though. And it is interesting that, like, if this guy comes down, you can crew a vehicle more than once, and you can also crew a vehicle with more power than it needs. So you could give something this backup and then tap both of them to crew and end up with Faithless Looting. So
yeah, DIY Faithless Looting.
Yeah, I mean, you got to work to get it, but yeah. Next up, we have Rampaging Raptor, 2 red for a 4/4 dinosaur with trample and haste, and you can pay 2 and a red, and it gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Whenever Rampaging Raptor deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls or battle that player protects.
Okay. So, this is kind of the current questing beast?
Yep, that's basically where I was going with this.
So, questing beast, I had to look at it to make sure I got all the keywords right. It has vigilance, death touch, and haste. uh, and then basically has the same paragraph.
Yeah, I mean it is notable that this also hits battles, but
Yeah, and then instead of trample, it has can't be blocked by little things,
mhm.
and then whatever the damage can't be prevented. So like the big thing this is missing compared to Questing Beach is vigilance, right? Because Questing Beach just hits the battlefield and like you can't really lose after you played your Questing Beast the following turn.
Yeah, I mean Death Touch also. Like there's definitely
Yeah.
been situations where like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't with Questing Beast. You're either gonna
Mhm.
lose your blocker or lose your planeswalker. Like one of the two is gonna happen.
Mhm.
Whereas with this guy, like I guess Trample's kind of like
Similar.
analogous to Death Touch, but different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it get you can probably ping their planeswalker for something.
Yeah.
Um so I was trying to think um like the red green like aggro decks are like kind of like the haste tribal decks that there is in like explorer slash pioneer.
Hmm.
Like it is like red green boat or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like playing like four questing beasts can be awkward. Like you could split between raptor and questing beast.
Absolutely.
They kind of do something very similar.
Hmm.
This could also maybe enable, right? Like those green decks really lean on Llanowar elves,
Yeah.
but like this could enable, like maybe in standard, like a big red deck
Hmm.
where like you have this, you have the bird, you have oh, what is it called? The werewolf that gives stuff +1/+0 in haste.
Yep.
Like and all of your stuff is like every turn just like play a thing, bash you, play a thing, bash you. And like your opponent never has a chance to like stabilize because everything just has haste or pseudo haste
Yeah.
and you kill them. And like you're just all mountains and like no mana troubles and you get to do this. Uh so this is probably an add-on in the red green decks, but like you can't get away from green in those because elf into 3-drop is so powerful.
Yeah.
Alpha is it reckless? Is it not reckless storm seeker? Is it?
That's the 3-drop. Yeah.
Yeah. So like elf and a reckless storm seeker is just too powerful to not do.
Yeah.
To just be like no questing piece, only this. But like you could maybe get back to a situation where you're playing Gruul Spellbreaker, where you're just like, yeah, I just want to. Everything needs to have haste. I'm just gonna kill you with all these little nerds.
Yep. Um, I I guess one more final thought is we kind of obviously we compared this to Questing Beast, and I think it's pretty close, like in power level.
Mm-hmm.
There
Yes.
are instances where you're just gonna kill your opponent with fire breathing,
Oh yeah.
whereas like
Yep.
Questing Beast doesn't have that. But like I said, there's Questing Beast also has some like awkward death touch blocks. Um, but I remember complaining about how like prevalent Questing Beast was,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a mythic, and this is a
Yeah.
rare. So how close in power level are we for like a downshift in rarity?
Um. It is surprising.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at the red green uncommon in this set. It's a 4 mana 3/3 that becomes a 4/4 with haste
Hmm.
when it attacks, or it gets a +1/+1 counter if it attacks a battle. And that's an uncommon,
Right.
which is, you know, a decent chunk of questing beast.
Hmm.
Um yeah, it is surprising that this has gotten cheaper. Like, there's a few cards, we might talk about a couple in here that I'm like, I kind of want to buy this. Yeah, it's an uncommon, it's cheap, whatever. But like in a year, they're just gonna like make this an instant instead of a sorcery
Yeah.
with like the same text. So then I'm just gonna have like 4 cents worth of cardboard
Yeah.
as opposed to 40 cents. Yeah, like this is a lot of questing beast. And
Yeah.
you're right, like if it's turn 10 and you've got 7 mana, you just like slam this and then like tap the other three and just get in for 6.
Hmm.
Like that could like swing the game in a big way.
Yeah.
Just win you the game outright, as opposed to your opponent being at like 2.
Right. All right. Next up, we kind of talked about this during our mechanics episode, so I don't think there's a ton to talk about here, but we had a request to talk about it, and it's Stoke the Flames.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to read the card for those who don't know. 2 red for an instant with Convoke, so you can tap creatures to help pay for it, and it deals 4 damage to any target.
4 damage for 4 mana is not an embarrassment. Getting to tap creatures for it is kind of a big deal.
Yep.
Anything that goes wide to get you to do this early. So like you could like see maybe like a red-white deck with the flash 1/1 that makes a 1/1, like kind of like the raise the alarm.
Yep.
And then like rouse reinforcements. And then you just like get to have like a free Stoke the Flames.
Yep.
On
also,
turn 3.
like any of the Spell Slingers decks, I don't know if there's like a Jeskai Spell Slingers deck that's like Young Pyromancer, Monastery Mentor, that kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Well, what is the Young Pyromancer now? It's blue, it's red-blue.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But like that Monastery Mentor and you are making tokens, and then like you get a couple bodies and you do this, you get 2 triggers.
Yep.
Yeah, like that's pretty solid. It's also like a lot of the battles are for defense. So it snipes a lot of battles.
Yep.
But you're probably
also,
just going dome.
4 is a good number for hitting planeswalkers as well.
Yeah. Yeah, this card does a whole lot.
Yep. And the cost reduction is where it's at.
Yeah. You can just surprise someone. Yeah, getting like a 7 mana turn always feels good.
Yeah. All right. This next one we talked about during the pre-show a little bit, right?
I think.
Volcanic Spite.
At least me trying to buy some.
Yeah.
So this is Volcanic Spite for 1 in the red. It's an instant. Volcanic Spite deals 3 damage to target creature, planeswalker, or battle. You may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do, draw a card. So this is Fire Prophecy, but better.
Yeah, Fire Prophecy only hit creatures, right?
Only hit creatures. Like, this is a strict upgrade over that card. There's literally no reason to play Fire Prophecy anymore.
Right.
And like the number of times like you're playing against blue-white control game 1 and you're like, I wish this Fire Prophecy had any text. Right now this has text.
Yep.
Right. Like this is one of those that like we've just power crept another card out of the format.
Yeah.
But yeah, anywhere that you played Fire Prophecy, you get to play this now.
Yep. All right.
So,
I think we have one more red card.
Okay. Ooh.
Valdarin Thrill Seeker. 2 in a red for a 1/1 Vampire Warrior with backup 2. And you can pay 1, sacrifice this creature. It deals damage equal to its power to any target.
What was the Heart Piercer Mastercore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is why I included this on the list, because you were looking for this card for, I don't know if you're still looking for it, but you were looking for it for a while.
Yeah, so the so when I used to play Tin Fins, I kept a Heart Piercer Mastercore in my sideboard to go get with Living Wish.
Yep.
In case I had to play my Merit Lage and then throw it at someone.
Yep.
I think I threw 1, maybe ever. This throws with less like red mana involved. I think it's the same mana cost. It might actually be cheaper.
No, I think it's, well, I mean, all in, it's the same. It's 4 mana all in, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Heart Piercer was 4 or
I think it was 4.
so. But yeah, that was a favorite of mine. I
Mhm.
don't know if it was good, but it was pretty sweet. Was it Heart Piercer Masticore? I just looked up
I think
Heart and
it's
I'm not seeing it.
Manticore.
Manticore. See if I can find it. Yep, Heart Piercer Manticore. Yep, it is 4.
I thought so.
Yeah, but this can also make it so your merit ledge can get people that have gone above 20.
Mm-hmm. Crack in
Uh,
and then sack it
yeah, uh, the standard combo, right?
with Yargle.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is like unlocking the limited dream.
Yeah, you guys will have to
Like,
post a screenshot in Discord if any of you do that.
yeah, if any of you Yargle chuck a Yargle at someone.
Yep.
I am like I think it's just like probably just goofy applications, but
Yeah.
they're still fun.
Yeah. Well,
Like I
like
want
I
to do
said,
it.
the only reason I figured we talk about it is because you were looking for this. I remember you searching Scryfall for this exact card
Yes.
and
Yes,
being
basically
disappointed
this.
when you only had the Manticore to go get.
Yes. I also wanted to just make this a land. Let me
Yeah.
throw my Dark Depths with a land, please. But yeah, this card is fun,
Yep.
if nothing else.
Moving on to green. We have Ancient Imperiosaur, 5 green for a 6/6 dinosaur with Convoke, Trample, and Ward 2. And when it
Okay.
enters the battlefield, or it enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it for each creature that convoked it. So this thing can be kind of huge.
Um, so Aspiring Spike
Mm-hmm.
and I found a guy on YouTube, Harry MTG.
Is he hairy?
He makes very short, like you can watch like almost an entire league in like 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
He edits the stuff down like that far. He'll get like 3 or 4 games in of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Have been working on making this a 2020 on turn 2 in modern.
Oh, how do you do that?
So Ornithopter, what's it called?
Memnite?
Memnite, things like Chatterstorm,
Oh, okay.
Burning Tree Emissary,
Mm-hmm.
Kaldatha Rebirth, and
Yep.
Gleeful Demolition.
Yep.
So, and then they were also playing the Wax.
Okay.
So you could like go like in on the go wide token thing, and if you didn't have the dinosaur, you could just whack
Yep.
and try to kill him that way. But and they played Voldorn Epicure because it's a body and an artifact to sacrifice to one of your 8
Oh, yeah.
Kaldatha
Okay.
Rebirth effects. So like there was a game where they went like Epicure, what is he called? Burning Tree, and then like made some goblins and then played something else and then convoked this guy out
That kind of sounds
for
like
as
a
a
fun
2020.
Tomfoolery Tuesday deck.
You might be able to like
Like you
you
lose
don't have to
Memnite, but that's it. Oh, and Kadoltha Rebirth.
yeah, I mean you could do like the explorer version of it
Yeah.
where like, it's not going to be as powerful. You have most of the wax
Yeah.
as like your B plan. And just Chatterstorm on
No, it's not.
in yeah, like they had Chatterstorm as it was like a green thing,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Could you like? I was like, oh, Dwinnen's elite. Is there like but that needs another elf.
It needs another elf. Yeah.
Like I don't know if there's an elf that makes an elf.
Elvish War
Or
Marshal kind of makes another elf.
kind of. Yeah, but no, you could definitely maybe put together something that like does this
Yeah.
some amount of times. Uh, but yeah, like if you can get it out early, the ward like we have found that Ward 2 can be like a severe pain.
Yeah, I mean, it's most of hexproof.
It's most of Hexproof if you get it down early.
Well, I mean, even late. Like if your removal costs 3 mana and
Yeah. But like if you get it down on like turn 3, turn 4,
yeah.
now you're in a situation where like the Ward 2 cuts off a lot of your removal spells.
Yeah.
Uh so like I'm interested to do that. Like that seems like it'd be fun. Like super swingy.
Mhm.
This is one where you'd play a bunch and be like, "Oh yeah, here are the 3 that we did the thing on turn 2." The record was 3 and 11.
Yeah.
The other times I got gut. Um, but yeah, like if you can get it out reasonably early, like it'll just run away with a game for you.
Oh, for sure.
Like if you go like 1, 2, 3 and play this on turn 4, like that's still not all right. Like that's what a 12. That's a 12/12 with
Yeah.
Ward 2.
Yeah,
Like,
that's pretty
and you
gross.
didn't do anything. You didn't do anything like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, is it in does Fierce Empath? Does it? It's not. Is it casting cost or power toughness? I think it's casting cost, right?
It's a mana value, yeah.
Mana value. Okay. Um. So like you could have Fierce Empath as your 3
Yeah. Go get
for like
this.
extra. Yeah, for extra copies. Like you could have it lined up where you could do like the thing,
Yeah.
and if you can't, you could just like have 8 copies of it. Be like, all right, on turn 3, I guess I will just Fierce Empath,
Mhm.
then convoke this thing out, and have it pretty consistently.
Yeah.
Uh, if you had a way to like have a mana up or something, like, then you just like you're like Snakeskin Veil, Tyvar's stand, pay
Yeah.
the 2, sick. We're gonna
Hexproof.
do this, hexproof them. We're good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like there you go. There's a tomfoolery deck for you.
Yeah.
You hate wild cards, right? Just burn them. Just
Yeah.
burn them on.
Unfortunately, tomfoolery has kind of drained my wild cards,
Oh no.
but we'll see what we can do. I got a couple other ideas for decks too that I got to get around to.
Yeah. All right. What do we got next?
Next up, we have Deep Root Wayfinder, 1 and a green for a 2/3 Merfolk Scout. Whenever Deep Root Wayfinder deals combat damage to a player or battle, surveil 1. Then you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Uh, this card seems not good.
Yeah?
So, like, you can't play it in elves. Not elves. I'm
Not an
sorry.
elf.
You can't play it in Merfolk.
Well, I mean, you also
Right.
can't play it in elves.
Very true. Sorry. It's a mono green Merfolk. I'm very confused by this. Merfolk are supposed to live in the water, not in the trees.
Well,
Um,
Ixalan
but
had
like,
green merfolks.
yes, Ixalan does have green Merfolks, but like in older formats, it's not gonna be better than the blue lords.
Right.
Um, and then like it's like sad as this is to say, right? Like it is a creature that has to like deal damage.
Yeah, it doesn't immediately pay you off.
Yeah. And, we talked about this again in the pre-show that like some of the big dumb gold mythics
Mhm.
don't immediately pay you off.
Yep.
And it's like, oh yeah, I can just kill it and it's not the end of the world. Right? Like, is Llanowar Visionary kind of better?
Yeah.
Right? I know. Oh, sorry. Oh gosh. To stay on Team Merfolk here, Silvergill Adept.
Mhm.
Right? Like, you would much rather your 2-drop be Silvergill Adept than Deep Root
Right.
Wayfinder, I think. Right? Of course, it blocks better. It's a 2/3.
Well, I mean,
But
it
like,
also like just because it's a merfolk doesn't mean it has to be like merfolk tribal.
true. True. I mean, I guess you could play it like, but do we get to play green mid-range decks? Is that like a thing
Mm,
we're allowed to do?
no. Well, I mean, it depends what you defined as mid-range. Like, the definitions have changed a little bit recently.
True, but like this feels like Merfolk branch walker, like
Yeah.
super branch walker.
Yeah.
Right? And like I don't know if like that's the kind of deck you can play anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
But if
that's
you
actually a pretty good comparison as Super Branchwalker.
yeah, but
The
like if you
text reads a lot differently, but it probably plays similar.
yeah, like if you told me like absolutely you're gonna get to whack your opponent with it once,
Mhm.
be like, okay, cool. But if like you but like if it just like dies and you just get kind of like nothing, you're just like, eh.
Yeah.
Now, if you can get it in and you're playing in like a fetch land format
Mhm.
and you just know you're gonna get your fetch land back,
Yeah, that's true.
like that's pretty good.
Yeah, but also this is pretty underpowered for fetch land formats.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
But like, is there like there's not like a good way to get like lands in your graveyard?
Yeah.
I guess the new Capenna fetch lands, but like, who cares?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't think it has a home. Like, I think it's like kind of power crept out of
Yep.
modern Magic. Like,
It's
hi, you've just been printed. You are not powerful enough for modern Magic. I'm sorry.
crazy how 2 mana 2/3 has been power crept
Oh yeah,
out of existence.
it used to be that like it was like okay, for 1 mana you get a grand total of 2 power and toughness combined.
Right.
Right? You get a 1/1, you get an O2, and then there was 1/2/1 for white.
Mhm. And red.
And now like now it seems like you get like 3
Yeah.
power and toughness combined for 1 mana. And 2 mana used to be you got 4.
Right.
Some mix from 0/4 to 3/1. And now it's like 5. 5 seems fair.
Not playable.
Not yeah, it's like probably not good enough. And it's
5
like
with upside, still can't play it.
can't play it. Not even a vanilla.
Yep. All right, moving on. Seed of Hope. Green mana for an instant, mill 2 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into your hand. You gain 2 life.
This in the right deck is like green ponder
Pretty close to, yeah.
or green like almost like green preordain.
Yeah.
So like you have to be playing a deck that is like all permanents. Right? It's like
Well,
seeds
I
of
mean,
hope and then like permanents.
green decks are typically pretty heavy on permanents anyway.
Yeah. But like this just gives you like selection
Yep.
to do that whole thing. And like, turn 1 you can just seed of hope, maybe hit a land. I don't know if it's good enough. Like it's like is instant speed Oath of Nissa that sees 1 less card.
I mean, Oath of Nissa is banned.
Is it's not banned in Explorer anymore.
Oh, it's not? I thought it was.
No, they have freed it.
Oh, okay.
It is why the mono green decks play 1 Nicobolus and 1 Teferi who something the sunset.
Yeah.
Slows the sunset because you can cast it off the mana from Nissa, Oath of Nissa lets you cast it.
Gotcha.
So like it's kind of bad Oath of Nissa, but like in standard, if you're just playing a pile of like green creatures, right? Like this gives you a way to like smooth your draws a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like it's like a bad ponder, but it's also a green ponder. So like I think green ponder gets to be bad ponder,
Yeah.
and still be okay. I said ponder a whole lot in that sentence. It made me sound very smart.
Pondering.
Pondering. Oh man, that should be the emote instead of thinking on Arena. Pondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go, Wizards. Make it happen.
Dev team, chop chop.
Yep. All right, moving on. Let's try and chew through some cards here. Tribute to the World Tree. Green, green, green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters a battlefield under your control, draw a card if its power is 3 or greater. Otherwise, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it.
So this is like part Kiora.
Mm-hmm.
part. I don't know what. I don't know what the kind of the other thing is.
Great
The plus and
Henge.
plus encounters. Yeah, Great Henge is probably pretty good. I guess Great Henge does both.
Yeah.
Um, People have been messing around with this in mono green.
I mean, green. Uh,
Y- A
adds a lot of
green
devotion.
key. Yeah, a green kind of Kiora
Yeah.
that like makes like all of the creatures you have either draw you a card, or if you have a Kiora, draw 2 cards,
Right.
and all of your elves are now 3/3s. I mean, seems pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like I guess also like commander people like to draw cards. Like if you
Yes,
have
they do.
tribute to the world tree, Kiora, and Great Henge. Like, is there an argument for like, oh wait, like we should buy a bunch of these because in a year and a half they're going to be $35?
Either that or
A
they're
la
going to
the
print
Great Henge.
something that's just better.
True,
Like, I don't
true,
even know how to spec on cards anymore.
and this is a rare. Like
Yeah.
I kind of don't spec on rares anymore.
Yeah.
Like they just all go to 0 seemingly, unless you're Ledger Shredder.
True.
Yeah, I think that this has a home somewhere. Like you can make a build of mono green that plays this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I don't know if it is the best way to build the deck, but you can.
It's
Um,
also like something that's harder to interact with than any of the things that it's trying to emulate because it's an
mhm,
enchantment.
yeah. Uh, it's like you know, Great Henge
Yeah.
is an artifact. Kiora is a creature.
Planeswalker.
This just Planeswalker. Sorry, gosh, what is wrong with me? And then Tribute to the World Tree is just chilling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I don't know if there's like a green mid-rangey deck. Again, the mythical green mid-range deck
Right.
that you could like play this in standard. I think the black cards are just too good now. Like I think you gotta like wait to rotation.
Yeah, maybe.
So then it's just like so it's not Shieldred in every swamp that you could ever want.
Right.
It's like, oh, I have to play Shieldred and do something else. It's like you lose like Invoke, you lose I guess the Lily stays around.
Yeah.
Invoke's the big one, I think. So like Evoke and like Fable the Mirror Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And the mana gets worse. Right? You might be able to play like Tribute to the World Tree and like Pelucranos
Mm-hmm.
in like a non-embarrassing mono green deck in 6 months.
We'll have to wait and see.
We will.
Next up, we have Wary Thespian. 1 and a green for a 3/1. Cat Druid. When it enters the battlefield or dies, surveil 1.
It is wild that we have a blue card that enters and loots when it dies, and we have a green card
It basically
that
does the same thing.
kind of does the same thing, like surveils on the
Yeah.
way in and on the way out, and it trades up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, would you've been you? I think you would have been happy with enters and surveils, or you
Probably.
would have been happy with dies and surveils.
But you get
Like,
both.
probably less happy on dies, but you get both. Like, it's just like cool.
Well, so we
Again,
said
like,
that like I think was it last week we said scry 1 is like half a card.
mhm.
So it's safe to say that surveil 1 is like half a card.
Maybe a little bit
Yeah, I
more.
was going to say a little bit more, but not a full card.
Yeah, like 2/3 of a card, maybe.
So surveil 1 twice is probably a card.
Probably right around a card, yeah.
So this is Elvish Visionary with 2 more power.
Yeah. It takes a little bit of work to get to that last little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, not that there aren't better options, but like play this, surveil, sack it to Eldritch Evolution,
Mhm.
and then go get your Grease Fang or whatever. And it's not like embarrassing on the front end. No, I'm not saying that there aren't better options. Like Seder Wayfinder is just a better option for that.
Yeah, like the timing doesn't work with that either, right? Because you lose the surveil.
No, I think you would get to stack it. I think you would resolve Eldritch Evolution first, and then you could
Well,
surveil
no, because
afterwards.
you sack as part of the casting cost, right?
Oh, yeah. I guess you would lose the surveil. You would get to look to like try to throw a vehicle in the graveyard. So yeah,
Well, I mean, you would just throw whatever's on top of the graveyard. I don't think it
yeah,
matters what it is, but
yeah. But just like the fact that you get to do both, I was
yeah.
gonna say there are better options, but
No, I think like sometimes when we look at cards like this, it's not that the card itself is super interesting or useful. It's just I kind of like going through the process of evaluating like what the card's worth. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting to see what rate is and how rates change over time.
yeah, it is like it used to be like one in a color, 3/1, vanilla.
Right.
And now they're like, then they got reach.
Yeah.
Then they sometimes got first strike when they attacked, or can't
In-
be blocked by artifacts.
conditional indestructible.
Yeah, and now it's like selection on the way in and on the way out. We wouldn't want you to
Yep.
feel bad at any point with this creature. And it's like, oh, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
Right.
Our last green card, we have Ren and Realmbreaker. 1 green, 4 loyalty Ren Planeswalker. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. +1. Up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with vigilance, hexproof, and haste until your next turn. It's still a land. -2. Mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into your hand. -7. You get an emblem with you may play lands and permanent spells from your graveyard.
So this is the other card I want from the set. We talked about what I was buying in the pre-show.
Yeah.
It is working its way down in price rapidly.
Yeah.
It was $20 yesterday. It's now 13.
Excellent.
So have you ever wanted to transmogrify something?
I don't know.
May I introduce you to a 3/3 hexproof creature that you can transmogrify on turn 4?
Okay.
Because you can get the land, and the land can't be targeted. You are cleared for takeoff against
right.
removal. You have to worry about counter spells, but you can just jam, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. All right.
Right? So that was the first place a lot of people's heads went. I think it's just a fine, again, mid-rangey card. Like it doesn't get to protect itself on turn 3, really,
Right.
because like that land will be tapped. But it goes to 5 loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I guess Oko went to 6 or 7. Right? But like a high loyalty 3 mana planeswalker,
Yeah.
has a history of being hard to kill.
Well, I mean, 3 mana planeswalkers in general have a history of being very good.
Yeah, so Oko went to
6.
Went to 6 or like 5 and turned your thing into a 3/3.
Yeah.
Right. So this going to 5 and just being like, maybe you can kill me, maybe you can't. Also, like now this in the Transmogrify decks does take you off of what's he called? Gigantha.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not worried about Gigantha, get to play Luca.
That's true.
And you know what Luca really would like? A hexproof creature that it can
a land
eat
to
and turn
transmog.
into. Yeah. So you get to go up to 8 transmogrifies, and can I introduce you into a Tally or a Traxa?
Yeah, there you go.
The 2 best things you could ever transmogrify into.
Yeah.
Like just like you have, 8 kind of bonkers hits. You have a million different ways to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like the land from Ren and Realmbreaker, great for a indomitable creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're like, I don't want to play Luca, that's 5 mana. fine, just play Indomitable Creativity. This
Yeah.
also fixes your mana.
Yep.
You could play Forest, Creativity someone.
Yeah. Yeah, seems good. It's an interesting card. Like I said, 3 mana is a good spot for Planeswalkers to be.
Yeah.
Have a history of being really powerful. We got some kind of all-timers at the 3 mana mark, so
Yeah.
I always like to look at the 3 mana Planeswalkers.
Is this worded like Garuda, where the negative doesn't care if your cards are exiled?
That is correct.
R-
You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into
It's
your hand.
it's not from your graveyard,
Correct.
so you can just throw them into the Leyline of the Void and still pick a card out.
I believe so, yes.
Yes,
I'd
I
have
am
to look
pretty
at
sure
the
as well.
release notes to double check, but I think that is correct.
I will check Gatherer.
Yeah, because it's all the same ability and it doesn't care where the cards are.
Yeah, it doesn't say like it has to be.
Yep.
Oh no, the only ruling is the lands and spells you play from your graveyard have the same timing restrictions. Duh.
Yeah.
But thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is just like you have Fable and this, you have two like good 3 mana things to like set up your transmogrify.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just seems like A plus.
Yep.
Right, that deck might actually be like really good now
Yeah, maybe.
with like being able to play 8 transmogrifies and still getting to keep Courier's Briefcase and the channel enchantment that makes the Land War Elf.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like you can like on turn 4 just have it.
Yeah.
Or say on turn 3 just have it, or like have a bunch of things that you can do on 3 other than that.
Yeah.
So there you go. Combo.
Cool. All right. Moving out of the single colored spells into the multicolored spells. We already talked a bit about this card, so we probably don't have to spend a ton of time on it. But Dijeru and Hazaret is 2 red, white for a 5/4 human god. And says, as long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, Dijeru and Hazaret has Vigilance and Haste. And whenever Dijeru and Hazaret attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may exile a legendary creature card from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Until end of turn, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost.
So I would just watch a Magic AIDS video where it says cast. So you use to cast Emrakul, the Promised End.
Yep.
Off of this and get to take your opponent's turn.
Yep.
A plus good times.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It does have the thing we were talking about where like unless you have done a little bit of work, it does not just like come down and wreck your opponent.
Right.
Like there is the stress of like, what if they have a removal spell? But when they don't, like you just get so much value.
Yeah.
So again, like this was one of the cards I bought. They were 50 cents. I probably overpaid for them.
Yeah,
but,
I think it's worth 50 cents at some point.
Yeah.
It's going to do something.
Or at the very least, like it is a deck that I will like put together at some point and do something silly.
Yeah.
And that's all we're here for.
That's right.
We just want to have some fun.
Yep. The next one we also talked about quite a bit, so we probably don't have to spend a ton of time on it here, is Kroxa and Kuranos. 3 Mardu for a 6/6 Elder Giant dog. It has Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink, and whenever Kroxa and Kuranos enters a battlefield or attacks, you may exile 5 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
So they get to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty nice. This one at least pays you when it comes down. You still have to do work.
Yep.
but it's paying you on the way down. I
Like we
mean, it's
said when
all,
we talked about it before, I don't know, it seemed like a pretty good reanimation target because it also reanimates something else. And if
yeah.
your reanimation spell gives haste, like some of them do, it gets to reanimate twice.
Yeah, you gotta have a lot of cards in your graveyard, but
Sure.
like if you're playing like a self mill kind of reanimation deck, like oh gosh, what is the just Diagraph Rebirth that has flashback,
Yep.
or I guess in older formats, Unburial Rites, where like you're just like I'm gonna mill myself super hard, my reanimation spell is gonna go in my graveyard, and then boom, I'll get 2 things.
Yep.
Like that seems fine,
Yep.
and it's just a 6/6.
It is with vigilance, menaces, lifelink,
Yeah,
menaces.
like I have stabilized the battlefield. I have a 6/6.
Yep.
Please don't kill it with your Showdred.
Yeah. All right. The next one we have is Quintorius Lore Master. 3 red white for a 3/5 elephant cleric with vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, exile target non-creature, non-land card from your graveyard. Create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token, and you can pay 1 red white and tap it. Sacrifice a spirit. Choose target card exiled with Quintorius. You may cast that card this turn without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into a graveyard, put it on the bottom of its owner's library instead.
Yeah.
This one was
So
a listener request. I'm not 100% sure what you're supposed to do with it, but
I played it in limited,
Mhm.
and it felt good but slow.
Yeah.
Right? Like the fact that you have to like tap it to be able to cast a spell.
Right.
Like if you could get to 8 mana and just like play it
Mhm.
and then cast the spell on your end step, like that would be fine. But there's so many spots where it can like die
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a
before you get
3/5, so
anything.
it's
Yeah, but like you play it, they kill it before you get your spirit.
yeah.
Okay. You play it, they kill it after you get your spirit, like with sorcery speed removal.
Mhm.
Okay, now I can't use my uh my exiled card. I got a 3/2 out of the deal, but like that wasn't worth 5 mana.
What like what kind of giant things can we cheat out with this? Like, is there anything
Um
like omniscience level that we can do here?
a non-land card. Well, there's that black card, Behold the something.
Behold the something.
I think. No, maybe it's not that. The 5 black that everyone mills 10 cards, and then you get to put a creature or planeswalker from each
Oh
graveyard on the
yeah.
battlefield. It's like, yeah, 5 black. There's
Is
also
this like a sneaky turns card?
oh gosh. Like every turn you just get another
A
take an extra
spirit
turn
and another
spell.
turn, yeah.
Gross. It could be. Um what's the other what is was it one with the multiverse?
Mhm.
That is like uh bad omniscience?
Yeah.
Like that would be a good thing to get. Do we have any like extra turn spells? Uh
I mean, Time Warp's on Arena. It's like a historic card, but
is it banned?
I don't think so.
Um yeah, you might I don't know. I feel like it just like fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
I guess we only have Alchemist Gambit, which is a 6 mana extra turn spell.
Mhm. Well, I mean, I don't care how much they cost because you're cheating it.
Yeah, but well, it's 3 mana and then you lose the game and you cleave it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think you would like just lose the game. I don't think you'd have the ability to cleave it.
Yeah. That's true.
Um yeah, I don't uh It is banned in his Time Warp is banned in Historic.
Okay.
I forget what.
Cleave is an additional cost, though, right? You could still cleave.
Oh, you probably could, right? No, you may cast it for its cleave cost,
Oh,
and this says you may cast without paying its mana
yeah.
cost.
All right.
So like you just don't get to, and that'd
Yeah.
be 9 mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any like extra turn spells that are legal on Arena. Look at Explorer here. Elrond's Epiphany.
Mm-hmm.
Karn's Temporal Sundering.
Oh, I mean, that works.
And this dude's a legend.
Yep.
Like those are the only two.
Yeah.
That like don't kill you.
Well, maybe we'll have to wait until something else gets on Arena. I think it's too slow for older formats, but it might be some fun jank for Arena. I really can't think of anything else like broken that you're going to do with it. And I think it's too slow to do anything it's probably too slow to do broken things, but I think it's also too slow to do unbroken things.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So, moving on, we have Zimone and Dina. Sultai for a 3/4 human dryad. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Tap, sacrifice another creature, or draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you control 8 or more lands, repeat this process once.
The greatest Sultai Tiny Leaders commander ever.
Well, that's saying something, because at the time of Tiny Leaders, there was no Sultai Tiny Leaders commander. It was generic 3/3.
I think I might be putting this as like a commander above what's his name? The 3/3 Sultai guy that like you can't draw an extra card if you're targeted, you draw a card.
Leovold,
there you go. Probably a better commander than Leovold. I would love to Tiny Leader some people out with this thing. That is not a format.
If only Tiny Leaders still existed.
Only we still had Tiny Leaders. Like, it seems bonkers if you like ever get to untap with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have some way to have fodder, doesn't matter what. Like, it's black and green. There's a million things that like die into a 1/1.
Well, I mean, the Sedgemoor Witch. Like,
oh yeah, whenever you cast a spell.
Yeah, it makes a 1/1.
But yeah, Blister Pod.
Yeah, tons of ways to make dudes.
Yeah, like this card seems super powerful, but again, it's in that like weird area of
mid range doesn't exist, and this is like the mid rangiest card that ever mid ranged.
Yeah, I mean, Tyvar doesn't make bodies.
Right.
Tyvar does give this haste.
Does. Yep.
And lets you untap it.
Mm-hmm.
So you could like Tyvar, then the next turn play this.
Mm-hmm.
Like sack a creature,
do again.
The whole thing, untap it, do it again. Like that would be a heck of a turn.
Yep.
I don't know if that's good enough for turn 4. Like ramp twice, draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Gain 4 life, your opponent loses 4 life.
Well, it's only triggers once when you draw your second card each turn.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So they gain 2, lose 2. Like I don't know if that's good enough, but it feels like it should be.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like other than Rakdos Sack, and even Rakdos Sack is kind of on the way out of this. Modern Magic is not about like nickel and diming.
Right.
Right? It's about like big swingy things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's still that like engine element, but the engines do more than this now.
Yeah, way more.
Right? So like This is an engine kind of unto itself, but I don't know if it has like enough oomph to like get over the hump.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I
But
mean, it's
like,
an interesting card, and I'll probably build a brawl deck around it at some point.
oh
But
yeah,
I don't think it's competitive enough, unfortunately.
hey, but if it's not competitive enough, that means you get to not play Golos. Or no, do we ban Golos? The Golos is still around.
I think Golos is still around.
But yeah, you don't have to play Golos.
Oh, and brawl, yeah, you are correct.
Yeah, you get to, you're out of the Golos bracket.
Well, no, I meant competitive enough for like constructed, like actual
Oh
constructed
yeah,
play.
yeah.
All right, we have moved out of multicolored. We are now moving into the singular artifact we're going to talk about.
Ooh.
Halo Hopper.
Hey, buddy.
3 mana,
So
3/2 frog with Convoke. And that's it.
this is definitely like a play on Frogmite.
Mhm.
Um. So free creatures are good.
Yes.
Full stop. Um.
Free artifacts are good.
Yes, this is true.
This is both.
I don't know if it's good enough. Again, like where Frogmite was good if you had like 2 in your hands, you could just like bonk bonk.
Mhm.
I don't know if we can bonk bonk hard enough. Like you like maybe can play one of these, and like a free 2/2 used to be like a thing. Like it doesn't feel like as much of a thing now.
Yeah.
So like a free 3/2, like does that really move the needle? Right. I
Yeah.
mean it can't be like a 3 mana 3/3 with Convoke,
Right.
right? Um and like you like with Frogmite, you could like attack with your creatures when you played it,
Mhm. Yeah, and this you
right?
can't.
This you can't, like you're tapping them, and like is it that big of a now granted, like if your turn 3 is like Halo Hopper with lands, and then tap your 2 other creatures in your Halo Hopper to play another Halo Hopper, maybe you're far enough ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you're looking to seriously play Halo Hopper in like standard or explorer or anything.
Mhm.
Um but it might be interested in Pauper or
Yeah.
like Cube. This is probably a cool
Again,
cube
it is a
card.
good cube card,
Yeah.
right? It does something different than like Frogmite and like a pile of affinity cards. Like it
Yeah.
would go into more decks
Yeah.
and still be like that free body.
It lets you tap
Okay.
your dwarf pilot guy.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yep.
And the thing that it like
Yep.
put the counter on, boom.
Yeah.
There's your like faithless rummaging.
That's right. Build your own.
There you go. Okay. I
Yeah.
can get behind it some.
Interesting utility card here. There's not a whole lot
Yeah.
that does what it does. All right, moving on to double-faced cards.
All
First
right.
up, we have Invasion of Gobakan. 1 and a white for a 3. What do we call these counters? 3
Defense?
siege, 3 defense
They're
battle.
defense counters, yeah.
When Invasion of Gobakan ETBs, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card for it. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it, and it costs 2 more. So it's Elite Spellbinder.
Or it's like Bad Thoughtseize. It's like Transgress the Mind, but in white to some degree.
Well, it's Elite Spellbinder, right? Isn't that just what
Yeah.
Elite Spellbinder does?
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking more like you could like play it on 2, buy yourself time,
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
like you would like a discard spell.
Yeah.
Where like Elite Spellbinder is like that plus like Smash Face.
Mhm.
This is like, could you see this like again if you're playing mono white humans against like blue white control,
Mhm.
right? Like, don't you just like sideboard 4 of these in, and you just kind of like, okay, between Thalia and Redain,
Yeah, whatever I'm going to cast next is going to resolve.
Yeah, well, that and, like, you can't Supreme Verdict me,
Right.
right? Because I'm gonna, like, Thalia, and then I'll do this on 3 maybe, get your Supreme Verdict. Now your Supreme Verdict costs 7,
Yeah.
right? And now I'm just gonna, like, chip away with my Thalia maybe, like, what's the backside of this? Is this the
I have
give
no
everything
idea.
its
Let's
crap?
find out. It's a late
This is to
shield
give
array.
counters.
At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that attacked this turn. And then you can sacrifice it to have creatures you control gain hexproof and indestructible till end of turn.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's no joke.
yeah, again, like, if you're the white go wide deck, all you want is a way to not get wrathed.
I mean, I don't even think you need to be necessarily a go wide deck. If you're like a white Texas, like Tempo style deck,
Mhm.
like this is just a 3-turn clock. Like
Yeah, I mean,
three
imagine
creatures makes this a 3-turn clock.
yeah, but imagine, like, again, like, you're like, you have this in Thalia and Redane and
Hmm.
Elite Spellbinder and what Anointed Peacekeeper,
Hmm.
right? And you're just like, "I'm just not gonna let you cast any of your Ravs,
Right.
and I'm gonna go, like, some stupid 1 mana 2/1 into Thalia or this,
Hmm.
and then everything I play on 3 makes it so you can't cast spells.
Right.
And I'm just gonna like 4 you, then 7 you, then 7 you, and you're gonna die.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, like this. And like again, if this is your like stupid 2 mana, if this is your like you play your 2/1, then you play this and you attack it. You like play a 3 drop and then attack this the following turn.
Hmm.
Now you have a 3/2, and now you're like 6 you, then you get like what? Then you get to 8 them the following turn or something.
Yep.
Right? They're dead on turn 5.
Yeah, and even if they somehow drew a wrath that you didn't get rid of, like this is also
Yeah.
protection.
Yeah, like you just have oh gosh, heroic intervention.
Yep. Oh,
Like
free.
for for the best kind of heroic intervention.
Yep.
Yeah, it's on the board, but you can't do anything about it.
It's
Like I'm
almost
not
worse.
I'm not countering your supreme verdict.
Right.
I'm just making it so you can't that it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Now, the downside to this is farewell and sunfall.
Well, hopefully you can tag one of them with your
Yeah,
taxes.
hopefully. Hopefully, yeah, like your Redane
Yeah.
or your Thalia just makes it cost 1 more mana to buy you that extra turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this seems super powerful.
All right.
And like just as like a sideboard option, right? You're playing like ossifications
Yeah.
and you play against like blue white, and you're just like, well, I don't need the ossifications. What I do need are these like bad transgress the minds.
Yep.
Excellent.
Next up, card that's making waves.
Making waves, doing things.
Yeah. We have
This is
Rona. Oh, go ahead.
Rona Herald of Invasion, 1 in the blue for a 1/3 human wizard.
Hmm.
Whenever you cast a legendary spell, untap Rona Herald of Invasion. It has tap, draw a card, then discard a card. And it has 5 in a black, transform Rona, activate only as a sorcery. Oh, sorry, 5 in a Phyrexian black.
Yep.
The front side is what all the hype is about.
Yeah. I don't
So
think the backside's probably not worth anything, right?
the backside is like your fail case.
Yeah.
I've made infinite mana, and now I don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So Rona, Retraction Helix, and Mox Amber makes infinite mana.
Hmm.
Because every time you cast Mox Amber, you get to untap Rona. And then if you've targeted Rona with Retraction Helix, you get to bounce the Mox Amber.
Yep.
And you just get to do this in a loop. So it is a 3-card combo. Suck. But Todd Anderson has been working on it. I've posted a couple of his videos in Discord since I was like telling people like, hey, Rona's still pretty cheap right now. Like if you want to get in
Yeah.
before they like work their way up, and they've gone up from like $1 to like $2 in the last day. Um, the deck seems relatively consistent, and it is a combo deck that gets to play like a real game of Magic,
It's
and then
also a
just
combo
combo
deck
you.
that's not super like reliant on the graveyard.
Yeah, like it. And the way Todd Anderson had it built as of the video he posted Monday, there's like 4 or 5 different ways to win the game once you have hit, like, I can make a bunch of mana,
Mhm.
right? You could get a Karn and then, uh, Aetherflux Reservoir someone.
Yep.
You can, uh you can make, like, infinite black and green mana and then start bouncing your Tyvar if you have a Tyvar in play,
Mhm.
and just down tick it over and over and over again to mill yourself out, and then he was using the reality chip to then cast the top of your deck. You could also mill yourself out if you played like a single Thassa's Oracle
Right.
and have Tyver also be like your enabler and your win con.
Yeah, I mean,
Because like
I guess you're a little bit reliant on the graveyard then, though.
if you're doing that, but then
Yeah.
you still have the Karn plan
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
and you have
probably
the
don't do
Tyvar
both
plan.
though, do you?
Well, the deck plays Tyvar because it gives Yorona haste, so you could go turn 3 Tyvar,
Oh, okay.
turn 4 win the game. It also like if you play Yorona on 3 and then you play Tyvar, right? And then let's say they killed your Rona
Yeah.
on 2.
Get
You
it
just
back.
Tyvar down tick, get it back, play a Mox Amber,
Yeah.
and win the game. Um, and so like you can like you have like the Karn plan, you have the Tyvar plan. He also had in there Kinnan, Bonder
Mhm.
Prodigy, to generate infinite mana and then just spin Kinnan over and over and over
Makes sense.
to like cast your deck. And he also had a reality chip because now you can play the entire top of your library. And whenever you hit something you can't cast, you just spin with Kinnan
Mhm.
and play your whole deck. And uh, then you can win with by hitting a Karn eventually.
Yeah.
Uh, it also had Micromancer to go get your Retraction Helix or to get Epiphany at the Drown Yard.
Epiphany at the Drown Yard. What's that one?
It is X in blue for I think an instant. It might be a sorcery where you get to put X plus 1 cards into 2 piles, and your opponent picks a pile. So you get to draw half of your deck,
Mhm.
and then you stack the piles regardless of what pile you're given. You win the game with infinite mana.
Yeah.
So uh, it's still early, but this kind of seems good enough. And like he doesn't have what is he called? He doesn't have Thassa's Oracle because he wants to play Jegantha.
Okay.
But like I could see just being like, no, I'm gonna just play uh 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 Thassa's Oracle because it like makes this other kill way cleaner if I like have to do the Tybar thing.
Right.
And like, game 1 you like Tyvar Tyvar kill
Yeah.
and they bring in Graveyard Hate, and then game 2 you're just like Karn,
Sure.
go get Aetherworks
Ether Flux
Aetherflux
Reservoir.
Reservoir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also had a Paradox engine in the side
Mhm.
because that's like a backup retraction helix.
Yeah.
Um, so like there's a lot of like weird moving parts where like you could just like Karn and then like Paradox engine and then win the game that way with retraction helix and Mox Amber.
Yeah.
Or get a Tormod's Crypt and bounce that repeatedly.
Yeah. Is there any reason to play like Emery?
Um,
Like Emery
there's
would
not
play
a
well
ton.
with Tyvar, right? You mill your
It
Mox, then
would,
you can.
but there aren't that many artifacts,
Yeah.
right? There's just Mox. Um, again, this is a second kind of try at the deck. I did like he had Oath of Nissa,
Mhm.
and if you have a
That
bunch
lets you
of
play
green,
generic mana for your Karn.
it says like play generic mana for your Karn. It also lets you play blue, blue, blue for your Tyvar.
Yeah.
But let's say you had Rona Retraction Helix, right? But no Mox.
Mhm.
Uh, you can play your Oath of Nissa for every green mana you have on the battlefield. Because it's a legend, it untaps Rona.
Oh, okay.
So you could like if you have like 5 green mana, you can just draw 5 cards
Yeah.
off of your and put together your Karn and your Tyvar and all the other stuff that you need. And it's like, okay, next turn I can use the Micromancer that I got because I went
Yeah.
15 cards deep in my deck. So I don't know if it's what it's supposed to be yet as a deck, but like Rona just seems to be like the Retraction Helix Rona Mox Amber thing just seems perhaps good enough.
Mhm.
And if you can just make it a little more consistent, I think it'll be fine.
I kind of wish Retraction Helix was on Arena.
Yeah, no, I looked. I would totally like that would be a deck I'd be playing right now. I'd be like, oh yeah, let's mess with this and see if it works.
Yeah.
Right? Like these are the kind of things where like if they see this deck pop up, they should just like Retraction Helix should like magically appear on Arena.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, the only card that's missing from this is Retraction Helix. Here.
Yeah.
You guys get to do this now. Right? As opposed to like you'll get Retraction Helix in 2027.
Yeah. I mean, even if you just like put it on the client and said, here, burn some wild cards, like you're going to burn wild cards on the Retraction Helixes and then burn them on the rest of the deck. So,
Absolutely. Now Rona does have a backside, which is she's a 5/5 with trample, and when she takes damage, you the opponent exiles a card from their hand at random, right?
Mhm.
At random, yeah. And then you can play that card without paying its mana cost. So you can play lands, you can play spells.
Yep.
Um so in the earlier version, the first one I posted in Discord that he had up of this deck, there were times where he'd be like, I have infinite mana. I guess I'm just going to play a Gigantha and flip my Rona,
Mhm.
and that'll be my turn. I'll just put 10 power on board. And now it seems like he has better ways to kill.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see like when the machine gets a hold of this and like kind of smooths it out.
See what happens.
Yeah, but if you have like Mox Ambers, which have gotten significantly cheaper, we found out over the last few months. But if you have Mox Ambers and like this is a deck that might interest you, like the Ronas are relatively cheap now, and this is like the point to probably jump in.
Yeah.
Because like it could be a situation where it like goes up in value.
They become Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
I don't know if it's gonna be that good enough if you're gonna be doing this in Legacy and Vintage, but
Oh, I just meant it's going to be a $20 rare.
yeah. But like the $20 rares are the ones that like see play like super far back, right? Like
Yeah.
Ledger Shredder, Unlicensed Hearse, and Fable all see play in like Legacy.
Yeah.
And like every format in between, like those are the ones that like get away from you.
Yeah.
But
all right, we still got a whole bunch of cards to get through.
All right, let's go. We're an hour and 28 in.
We got like 20 cards to go.
Oh my god.
Invasion of Tarkir. 1 in a red for 5 defense battle. When it ATBs, reveal any number of dragons from your hand. When you do, it deals X plus 2 damage to any other target, where X is the number of cards revealed this way. X can be 0.
So, sorcery speed, deal 2. Fine.
Magma Jet?
Yeah, Magma Jet. No, Magma Jet was an instant.
Was it
and
an
it had
instant?
like a scry attached to it.
Yeah.
But like, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like in Standard or Explorer / Pioneer and you're like, I like me some dragons and I cannot lie, like this becomes like a much better like 2 mana deal 4
Yeah.
is really good.
Hmm.
Um, if you're playing a bunch of changelings,
Hmm.
then it's just 2 mana deal as much 2 mana deal 2 plus as many changelings are in your hand. I was uh liking the idea of, you may have remembered legacy dwarf
Insects.
insects.
Yeah.
Now it can be legacy dwarf insect dragons.
Dragons. Yeah.
So for those who didn't know, it was Magda wanted you to have dwarves. Grist wants you to have
Insects.
insects. So you play changelings, which are all of them.
Right.
And so like Invasion of Tarkir wants you to have dragons, and now it's just like 2 mana, deal 5.
Yeah.
And it goes to any target, so you can dome someone for 5 for 2 mana,
That is correct.
which is very good.
Pretty decent. And then
Yeah,
on
you
the
can also dome the second one. Like play
Yep.
the first one, then dome the other one.
Yep. Backside is Defiant Thundermaw. 4/4 flying trample. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, it deals 2 damage to any target.
I mean, that is very good.
Yeah.
Right, like it attacks for 6 by
Mhm.
itself,
Yep.
and then all of your changeling outcasts also deal 2.
That is true. Oh yeah, you could just kill somebody.
Yeah, like this is all good. Like if you're all dragons, or like, again, like your changelings, this is just super Hell Rider.
I mean, you could also like play one of these and then play another one and
Mm-hmm.
show a dragon to kill the first one, and then
You have to
swing with
show a
your
couple
changelings.
dragons.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but like if you're like changeling outcast, dome you for 5 with the first one,
Yep.
dome it for 5, attack with my changeling outcast, you take
A bunch.
3,
Yeah.
and then the next turn just kill you.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Next one is Kenra Spellseer or Spell Spear.
Mhm.
1 and a red for a 2/2 Jackal Warrior with trample and prowess. And you can flip it for 3 and a Phyrexian blue. Now the front side's not that exciting. What's the back side do?
Nah. A lot.
Trample,
It
ward,
is
prowess. Into 3/3.
Ward 2, yeah.
Ward 2, yeah.
Like the front side's not embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
it's
it's a
nothing to write
2/2
home about either.
a 2/2 trample prowess is fine,
Yeah.
right? Like the backside can just get them dead.
Hmm.
Um, so Cedric on their podcast was talking about like, oh, you could like lava dart something.
Mhm.
Like sack a land and lava dart it, and like you're attacking for like you've dealt 1 and you're attacking for 6. Mutagenic growth.
Oh, yeah, that's gross.
You're just like, if it flips, it has ward 2, it's probably living.
Hmm.
And then you're just like, YOLO. I'm
And
gonna
it's
just like,
tramples.
yeah, like, get in there, buddy. Gut shot, mutagenic growth,
Dead.
bash you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a
Scale up.
God. But it is, oh gosh, what is this called? The 1/2 that like gets +3/+0.
Oh,
Kiln Fiend.
yeah, Kiln Fiend.
Right? It's like a Kiln Fiend that you don't have to worry about going all in on
Right.
because it has ward 2. It like
Uh,
kind of protects
the
itself a little bit.
Kiln Fiend doesn't trample though, right?
No, like it's like a better Kiln Fiend that
Yeah.
like protects itself. It doesn't get as big. Kiln Fiend is +3/+0.
Yeah.
But you don't have to give this trample. It already has trample.
Right.
And there are like mono red prowess decks where you like have like Swift Spear and what's his name? Soulscar Mage.
Mm-hmm.
Like then you play this, like the deck that just plays like all like Warlord's Furies and
Yeah. Red
other things are
cantrips.
like, yeah, give your creatures haste, give your creatures first strike,
Yeah.
draw a card. It's like, okay, yeah, like this guy just loves that.
Mm-hmm.
And even before it flips, it's like fine, right? Like if you want to go like 1-2 and then not flip it and just cast like 3 cantrips,
Right.
attack for 5 with it and like 4 with your 1 mana prowess creature, that is perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do we got next?
We have Urabrask. 2 red
Yeah,
red
we
for a
do.
4/4 Phyrexian Praetor with first strike. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urabrask deals 1 damage to target opponent, add red. And then you can pay red. Exile Urabrask, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery and only if you've cast 3 or more instant or sorcery spells this turn.
Okay. I know this card has a backside that is ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
but this is, imagine if Bergie also killed your opponent,
Yeah.
right? Like there are mono red storm decks in Legacy that are built around like I need to have Bergie on the battlefield. This is more Bergies that also have a grape shot attached to them,
Mm-hmm. Or gutter
right?
snipe.
You're just, or yeah, gutter snipe.
Yeah.
But it's a gutter snipe that gives you mana,
Right.
right? So again, all of those like 1 mana red, like draw a card, do something you don't care about.
Yep.
There's also deal 1 damage.
Yep.
And then, you know, if the wheels fall off, you can just pay the 1 mana, flip it over, and you get like 3 extra damage and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, it's a saga on the backside. The first chapter is the great work deals 3 damage to target opponent and each creature they control. Chapter 2 is make 3 treasure tokens. Chapter 3 is until end of turn, you may cast instant and sorcery spells from your graveyard. If a spell cast this way would be put in a graveyard, exile it instead, and then you transform this back to Urabrask.
So, if somehow you made it 3 turns after you went ham with your Urabrask,
Right.
you just win the game.
Yep.
Because all the stuff you cast is there for you to cast a bunch more
Right.
and get a whole bunch more triggers. But like in Explorer / like Pioneer, could there be like a Runaway Steamkin, Bergie, Urabrask kind
Maybe.
of deck? I know that we also had whatever his name was, Grim. What is it? The Elemental, the Grinning Ignis. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that like kind of went like nuts with Bergie.
Yeah.
Does Urabrask, is he instant or sorceries only?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Instant or
So like you
sorcery.
can't, like it doesn't also work with Grinning Ignis.
No.
But like you just like have these 3 cards that are just gonna generate you mana.
Yep.
Like 2 of which generate you mana immediately, and 1 in Runaway Steamkin that like you have to like string some spells together before you get your mana.
Yep.
But like that just seems nutty, right?
Yeah.
Where you like you resolve this and you can just win the game on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I have 5 mana. I'm gonna play this Urabrask. I'm gonna just draw through my deck. Or like, God help you if your opponent goes like Bergie and then plays Urabrask, gets a 1 mana from Bergie.
Mm-hmm.
It's done, right? You're just like, they're gonna just generate mana and draw cards forever.
Right.
And we have 2 1 in the red, exile 2 cards in the
Mm-hmm.
format.
Yep.
Right? Wren's whatever.
Yep.
Whatever from this set, and then Reckless Impulse.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like you just play those 2 and then you're just like, well, I'm just gonna run through spells.
Find something to do.
Yeah, until I kill you.
Yep.
So And like you only have to get them to 3 because then you just pay a red and you have a
And
lightning
you
bolt.
flip it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm interested. Like it seems like we've talked a lot about like, well, this deck's kind of good, but it needs like additional copies of the effect it's built around.
Hmm.
Right. This is just 4 more Burgies for the deck that doesn't do anything unless there's a Burgie out.
Yeah. Like you said, though, it's also the payoff is built in.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to
Right.
dig
Like
as
it's
deep.
yeah. It's just like I just have to keep stringing spells together.
Yeah.
And like the uh right, like in older formats, like Light Up the Stage is 1 mana after you cast your first spell with Urabrask.
Hmm.
Right. You're just gonna get so deep.
Right.
Right. Like Light Up the Stage wasn't good with Burgie or
Right.
as good. This is just like, oh no, it's fine.
Yep.
You will have Spectacle now.
We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Invasion of Ikoria. X green, 6 defense battle. When at ETBs, search your library and/or graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less. Put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle.
So this is Finale of Devastation
It is.
without the like X equals 10 clause.
Right, without the rider.
This is already one of the most expensive cards in the set.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's like $10 for a rare, maybe, which is a lot in like the current like world of rares.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like look real
I
quick.
mean, this is only a mana away from Green Suns, which,
yeah,
I mean, it is a big deal, but
it does have the like the non-human rider, but that's not the end of the world.
well, I mean, what humans are you getting with Green Suns?
Oh, I don't know. Like it's just a limit as like Vizier of Remedies.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you
Or
weren't
something
getting
like that.
Vizier remedies with Green Sun anyway.
Well, you could get it with Finale of Devastation.
Yeah, yeah.
In Modern, right? So like there is a little bit of a downside with the non-human clause, but otherwise it is just like Finale that was like a $50 card.
Mhm.
Or something absurd. Maybe not 50, but it was expensive. I know I no longer own any of them
Yeah,
because it was so
I think
expensive.
it's still expensive.
So right now it's $13
Okay.
for a rare. Like I think it's one of the most expensive rares in the set. So, you've heard what the joke is, right? With this one,
No, what's that?
you get Vampire Hexmage.
And then just flip it.
Mm-hmm.
4 mana, flip
and you
it
flip
into
an 8/8.
Yeah, 8/8 with reach. And
Yeah,
for each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked.
So it turns everything you control into a Thorn Elemental.
Yep.
Now, the downside is what is the mana value of this creature?
2?
2. So it gets Fatal Pushed.
It does.
Gets Prismatic Ending.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like 4 mana, get my Vampire Hexmage, kill the flip my battle, and then they're just like Fatal Push it.
Yeah. I guess that's probably worth noting. I'm not sure if everybody knows that or not. The mana value of the backside of a double face card is the mana value of the front face.
Yeah.
They changed that in Shadows, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
yeah, that's like, cute. That's kind of like mini Dark Depths combo.
Kind of mini Dark Depths combo, yeah. Yeah, when your opponent is at for somehow 42. You gotta attack him 3 times.
Yeah.
You gotta attack him 3 times with your 2020. Yeah, like I could see that being good. I could also just, with it being $13 right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is a reflection of like
what people think.
If you're playing Commander, right? Again, like that's what drives the value of cards these days.
Right.
Right. Finale of Devastation was $30 or whatever because it was a tutor in your green deck.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tutor in your green deck.
Yeah.
right? Chord of Calling has been an expensive card because it's a tutor in your green deck. Same with Green Sun.
Yeah.
Right. So this is just another tutor for your green deck. So like it's just gonna have utility there.
Mhm.
And then if you do get to do something cute like Hex Mage it, like cool.
Mhm.
Get a Hex Mage and then like kill their Planeswalker. Ha! Done that before. Not as fun.
Oh, I guess they eroded them, so they're not humans anymore, right? The infect creatures, like Bladed Agent.
Yeah, I think they're Phyrexians now.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
I mean, it might. I guess Bladed Agent. You're not going to block a Bladed Agent anyway, so it doesn't matter. So never mind.
It is a. Oh no, he's still a human. He's a Phyrexian human rogue.
Okay.
Even though he looks like a bird. What's the art direction? Make a Birdman.
Birdman.
Birdman. All right, yeah. So it seems good. Like it's gonna go get things for you. Like again, it's more tutors, flow tutors, but more tutors. I don't know how it would work in like. I don't think there's a deck in Pioneer right now that like is like, man, I wish I had Finale Devastation like 5 through 8.
Yeah, you're just gonna run more finales if you
Yeah.
want a finale. Well, moving on then, we have Invasion of Chandalar, 3 green, 4 defense. When Invasion of Chandalar ETBs, return up to 3 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. Not that I think this is like super impactful. I mean, obviously that's a lot of gas. 5 mana, draw 3, kind of. But do you remember? Oh shoot, what was the name of that card? The green one from Shadows, Seasons Past.
Oh yeah.
This is like kind of Seasons Past.
I won a draft Seasons Past thing very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
I like Seasons Past. I played that deck.
Yeah, I went to time with that deck.
I did not go to time with that deck. Thank you very much.
Okay,
I was a competent pilot.
I was not. So, like, yeah, getting 3 things is great. Again, the what deck does this go in?
I have no idea.
No idea, right?
Yeah.
But it is just like 3 mana draw 3.
Yep.
A plus, or 5 mana draw 3. A plus, or draw the best 3 cards out of your graveyard. And then the backside is an enchantment called Leyline Surge. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield.
That seems pretty decent.
Yeah. Atraxa.
Yeah.
Atali the Big Dumb Dinosaur.
Yeah.
You also like have Render Inert to just flip this thing. Right? Like, don't even need to attack it. Just like murderate it and call it good.
Yeah, I mean it's 8 mana, but
yeah, I mean there's also like on the installment plan, there's also the red battle that deals 4 to something. Right? Like, you know, hey, you don't need a graveyard combo when you can just like put them all into play from your hand. Right? Like, oh, you have graveyard hate? That's cool. I'm going to Omniscience this nerd into play.
Well, I mean, not quite Omniscience. You're not casting it, but
fair. You're not casting
close,
it, but
though.
still, just bonk.
Yeah.
Good enough. You don't get your Emrakul triggers.
Right.
But you get your ETB triggers.
Yep. Then we have Invasion of Zendikar. 3 and a green, 3 defense battle. When it ETBs, you tutor 2 basic lands and put them into play. So, explosive veggies.
Yeah. I mean, that card has seen play. I am I thought about taking out Migration's Path, but then I didn't want to have one sideways card in the cube. So
you always knew when somebody drew it because they
yeah.
What's that do?
Yeah. I mean, if you want vegetables, like this is like a better vegetables.
Hmm.
It has the upside of like anything that blinks a permanent,
Hmm.
getting to trigger it again. So like I don't know how Invasion of Zendikar and Flicker Wisp get in the same deck. Or I guess Felidar Guardian doesn't do it because they laundry listed it.
That is
Or
true.
did they say permanent?
No, I think they laundry listed it.
Uh
Or no, maybe they didn't, and that's why it was broken.
yes, I think it was they
Yeah.
didn't. Yep. Exile another target permanent you control.
Yep.
Return it. Yep. So
Yeah, that's
Felidar
cute.
Guardian. And again, this holds for like any of the battles, right?
Yeah.
That enter and do something like our ley line, our invasion of Chandelar. You can just
Hmm.
like blink it and get a bunch of stuff back. But like this is a way that you can get it hugely up on mana.
Oh yeah, real quick.
Yeah, the backside is a 4/4 haste or a 4/3.
Uh, 4/4
4/4 haste.
vigilance haste.
Hmm?
As long as it's on the battlefield, it's also a land, and you can tap it to add a mana of any color. So, I mean, it's a 4/4 with vigilance and
Hmm.
haste. I don't know that
Yeah.
you care about it being a land after you've got 2 lands, but
No, I guess if it were to resolve, it triggers all your landfall, right? Because it comes into
oh,
play as
that's
a
right.
land.
Yeah, and you cast it. Well, that's weird. You cast a land.
Yeah, so you cast it, it
Yeah.
hits the battlefield, it triggers your landfall. It's kind of like, oh, what's his name? Ashaya,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
right? When it hits the battlefield, it's a land.
Yep.
So it's not a land until it hits the battlefield.
Right.
But when it hits the battlefield, it's going to trigger your landfall stuff.
Yep.
It also will trigger a Risen Reef.
This is true.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And 3-color Omnath.
And 4-color Omnath.
Oh, that's yeah. And 4-color Omnath.
It triggers all of them. Just
All of
not
them.
5-color. 5-color guy is not about that life.
Right.
But yeah, like uh again, like if you're okay with having a sideways card in your cube, like this could be a way to like put an extra dimension into your cube where like now we have battles involved.
Yeah, it's also just like a unique explosive vegetation variant.
Yes.
If you want something a
See,
little
now
bit
that I
more
said it's like,
flavorful.
oh, wait, there's a different thing. It's like maybe I should have it in the cube because it is a different thing than just like it gives the green player something different to do.
Yeah. Well, we'll have
And
to
it
see.
supports the elemental archetype. Oh,
There you go.
oh man, so many things.
We'll have to see if it ends up in the cube.
We'll have to see.
Moving on. This is Brian's child. See what I did there? Brian's child.
Yes. Yes.
Invasion of Alara. Wooburg. 7 defense. When it ETBs, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile 2 non-land cards with mana value 4 or less. You may cast one of them without paying its mana cost. Put the other one in your hand.
So it is both good and bad to put in off of fires, have been mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the fact that you cast a spell counts as your second fire spell. So you
Right.
don't get to use like double mana. This is also great with a Ren
Mm-hmm.
or a Juicy J, a Gigantha,
Yep.
right? So the fact that you get to like pay 5 mana, cascade, and draw a card is pretty good.
Mhm.
You also get to do this isn't cascade though.
It's not.
So like you get to cast what's it called? Do you get to cast the backside of Valky?
Oh, yeah, I think you do.
Because that wording was specifically for cascade, right?
Yeah.
Exile 2, not like you may cast one of those cards without paying its mana cost. So you're exiling it,
Right.
Now it no longer cares about its mana value, right?
Right.
And then you can cast the backside. So
Mhm.
now it does the cascade shenanigans that we were doing with Valky
Yep.
uh before at 5 mana as opposed to like
Right.
on turn 1 with 2 spirit guides. But um it still gets you that.
Mhm.
And Lord help you if it ever help you if it's this thing ever flips.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest cruel ultimatum ever. It's like every ultimatum smushed together.
Awaken the Maelstrom. It's all colors into sorcery. Target player draws 2 cards. You may put an artifact from your hand onto the battlefield. Create a token that's a copy of a permanent you control. Distribute 3+1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 creatures you control. And destroy target permanent an opponent controls.
Um, and these resolve in the order that they're written.
Correct.
So can you put the artifact into play and then copy it
Yep.
and then put counters on it? So you're like
You can
Cityscape
draw
leveler?
it, put it in play, copy it,
Copy
put
it.
counters on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then blow up something of your opponent's.
Yep. And then if it's a Cityscape leveler, you get to blow up something else of your opponent's, right?
Cityscape leveler is uncast.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You can bring the light for this.
Yes, you can.
Those are the two ways that, like, not that bring the light cheats it,
Yeah.
but like, I guess one with the multiverse, you just get to bonk the 5 mana side into play.
Mhm.
Now you would have some way to get rid of the counters. You need some way to attack this down.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can realistically rely on the backside as your win con.
No, no. But just like the front side being 5 mana, cast a thing, draw a card, and there's a good chance that it's like since you get to pick,
Yeah.
right? Like there's a good chance that it gets to be like a 3-drop and a 2-drop when you get to cast the 3-drop. Or
Wasn't
you
there a
hit like
deck at one point in time that was playing like non-ironically Cascading Cataracts?
oh yeah, Golos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like Cascading Cataracts cast this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just get to get it with Golos.
Yep.
Like that's not bad. Like you just like play like whatever like normal deck you're playing, and you like Golos for a Cascading Cataracts,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have to kill your Golos,
Right.
and then when they do, you're like Shards of Allura, Invasion of Allura.
Yep. Cool.
Do I get to go like get all my stuff?
Mhm.
Yeah. So like, this card's a buck. I don't know. Like that is probably what it needs to be,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like it's more fun than $1. I don't know if it's good.
Maybe not, but more fun than $1.
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have a cycle.
Ooh.
We have 2 cycles to talk about. We have a cycle of hosers and a cycle of cyclers. See what I did there? Cycle of cyclers.
I like it.
We're gonna put them up on screen one at a time. I'll read them, and we can kind of talk about them as a whole instead of individual cards. Excuse me. So first up, we have Surge of Salvation. These are a cycle of color hosers. This is the white one. It's a white mana for an instant. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all damage that black or red sources would deal to creatures you control this turn. So this is a Mardu hate card. It's a white card that hates on black and red.
Yes.
Then we have Change the Equation. 1 in the blue for an instant. And you get to choose one. Counter target spell with mana value 2 or less. Or counter target red or green spell with mana value 6 or less. So this is a teamer. These are all that like color pairing or whatever.
Yeah,
wedges.
the wedge.
Yeah. The black one is Glistening Deluge. 1 black for a sorcery. creatures get neg 1 till end of turn, and creatures that are green and or white get an additional neg 2 until end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Lithomantic Barrage of red mana. Sorcery, this spell can't be countered. Lithomantic Barrage deals 1 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If it deals 5 damage if that creature is white or blue. And then the last one is Sandstalker Moloch. 1 green for a 4/2 with flash. When it ETBs, if an opponent casts a blue and or black spell this turn, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a permanent card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So what do we think about this cycle of hosers?
Like, one of them really got there and is super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
2 are kind of eh.
Yeah.
And then 2 are good, not great.
Yeah.
So I think Change the Equation like got there. I got a spell. I got a 3-drop green spell countered today.
Mm-hmm.
Main deck, game 1, would Change the Equation. Right? It's like a bad spell snare.
Yeah.
But then also has the upside of being like amazing.
Right.
Against like 2/3 of the format.
Yeah.
Or 40% of the format. But it's like never like quite dead. And we're in Fable of the Mirror Breakers being played in like every deck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like this is just takes care of that.
Yep.
And also gets like their Miglaws or whatever. So like I think this one is the one that is probably gonna see the most play.
What do you think about the red one?
I've been really thinking about it, and the fact that it's a sorcery really hurts it.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Right? Like, this is the card I was like, in 6 months to a year, they're gonna just make it an instant.
Yeah, probably.
Because like I like the fact that it deals 1 damage to anything. Right? So like that makes it something that if you're playing against mono green, you can bring it in to pick off elves.
Yeah.
Right?
Or if
But
you're
then,
main decking it, it's not dead against elves or whatever.
Yeah. And then, but against like blue and white is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I played a lot of Fry, and the thing with Fry was it let you get it to Teferi before they could untap.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They play their Teferi, they'd uptick, you kill the Teferi.
Right.
And oh gosh, what is the one from Dragons? Rending
Valley? Yeah.
Is it Rending Valley?
Yeah.
1 mana kills a Grease Fang before they get to bring the artifact back, right?
Yeah.
Like this, they play their Grease Fang, you take 13, and then you kill their Grease Fang,
and then
you die to the 2 angels.
Yeah.
Right? So like the fact that it's a sorcery just makes it feel like it's not quite good enough.
Yeah.
Right? So like the instant goes a long way. And then the white one. The white one, when I made my triumphant return to the LGS, people were talking about how it might replace Blacksmith's skill in like Hammer. Since it doesn't care about the color for the hexproof.
Right.
Right? So Blacksmith's skill gave like an artifact or an equipped creature or something hexproof.
Mm-hmm.
This just gives everything hexproof.
And you.
Yeah, so it does the thing that you need it to do.
Yeah.
It is markedly worse, thank goodness, than Veil of Summer.
Yes.
Because
does not draw you a card.
It does counter a Thoughtseize, but it doesn't get to Cryptic Command.
Right.
So I think it'll be less good against like black-red for dealing with like Thoughtseizes.
Yeah.
But right, it is good against like everything else. Also, in older formats, right? Let's say you are about that Tendrils of Agony life.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to worry about Veil of Summer out of green decks.
Yep.
And now this
Out of white
out
decks.
of white decks, like it just makes your life so much harder.
Yeah.
Um, so that is something to consider. So like I think there it could like see play in older formats as like your counter spell.
Hmm. In white.
In white. Well, I mean, don't forget we get the White Remand
Yeah.
coming to from Hobbits and
Yeah.
company. Um, and then like, did I lose a limited game to someone having 2 of that stupid black bad infest? I
Oh,
did.
really?
I had a full board. I was gonna deck myself, but I had 2/2/2s and another creature, and they cast 2 of these. It killed both my 2/2s,
Hmm.
and then got my other creature, and uh I could not kill them. I was like 1 damage short. Uh it was great. Um but like I don't think this is good enough,
No, I think it's bad.
right? Like Witch's Vengeance kind of does the same thing.
Hmm.
Um but more consistently.
Right.
Like you could bring it into more matchups. Um like neg 1 for 3 is not good enough.
No.
Now if you told me that um 70% of the meta was green and white decks, okay, maybe I could get behind it.
Yeah, I still don't even know if that's
Good enough, right?
yeah.
And with like power creep, right? Like they play the Valkyrie, Righteous Valkyrie. This
Yeah.
doesn't do anything to Righteous Valkyrie.
Right.
Doesn't do anything to Bishop of Wings.
Right.
Doesn't do anything to like hardly any of the creatures in that deck or the
Hmm.
ones you care about, right? They
This is true.
play Youthful Valkyrie and then they play Righteous Valkyrie, and you look at your card, you go, this does literal nothing,
Yeah.
right? I'd rather have a Ritual of Soot here.
Hmm. Oh, for
So
sure.
yeah, I don't think it's like good enough
Yeah.
at all. Like just the like if everything got neg 2, and then let's say everything got neg 2, and then white and green creatures got an additional -1/-1.
That's a lot closer.
Then like yeah, like you could
Yeah.
bring it in against goblins and then also like against humans and it not be like a joke. But like you can't bring this in against like goblins.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if they switch the numbers, it might be closer to playable. But the way it is, it's probably not.
Yep.
And then what was the last one?
Oh,
The green
the
one?
green one. Yeah, the green one's just
Yeah, that's
bad.
just awful.
Yeah. It's just
It's
not good.
awful.
Then we have one more cycle to talk about real quick. I don't think we need to talk about, I don't even think I really need to read them.
Okay.
This is the cycle of land cyclers. There's one
Mhm.
for each color: plain cycling, island cycling, swamp cycling, mountain cycling, forest cycling.
Mhm.
So you pay 2 and discard it, and then you get to tutor for um, a land of that type. Doesn't have to be
Yes.
basic.
Mhm.
You can get a fetch land or whatever. The reason I brought these up, we talked about them a little bit in pre-show for like limited context, but the reason I wanted to talk about these was for Living End.
Mhm.
I don't know how much of a thing Living End is anymore. Last time I checked in, it was like mono blue.
Um uh Bryant Cook just last week posted a Living End video. I haven't had a chance to watch it.
Mhm.
Uh but it's kind of closer to what it used to be.
Oh,
Like it's
okay.
no longer like as foretold
Yeah.
shenanigans. It's closer with like gosh. Oh, what is it called? Shardless Agent?
Hmm.
Right, you just have like an extra cast. Like you don't have to play Dread, whatever it was, the red black cascade
Oh,
spell.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Now you get to play like you get to be Teamer,
Mhm.
and it's just way better. Um, but like the white one of these, the red one, and the green one are like not embarrassing,
Mhm.
and even the black one's not embarrassing,
Yeah.
right? Um, so like Ikoria kind of pushed 2-mana cyclers out of that deck,
Out of living
but
end.
the at a living end, right? There's
Yeah.
a lot more like good 1-mana cyclers, but like these are all like pretty close. Like if you wanted to tell me that you wanted to play like whatever the is it Alabaster Intercessor
Hmm.
as like I'm just going to Alabaster Host Intercessor, right? I'm gonna cycle this, get like a Triome, play it, and then when I living end, I can eat whatever creature you put in your graveyard.
Right.
Like that's fine, right? Like you have to cycle away um what's it called? A Chupacabra basically, or a Banisher Priest, and then you just get it back
Yeah.
and like take care of their problem. Like that seems perfectly fine.
The red one's also hasty,
Yeah.
which is
What was
something.
there used to be the one that cycled for red black that was like a 3/4.
Hmm.
It was like swinging the big ball
Yeah.
that had haste. Not nearly as big as a 5/5 haste.
Right.
Yeah, but like you could like, cycle, 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 and then like 15 your opponent. So yeah, like these are all pretty good. Like also like if you are a popper player,
Hmm.
like these are not bad to late for dinner to
Hmm.
get back or to
Absolutely.
like exhume,
Yeah, you go get your
right?
land on
Like
the front end and then reanimate them.
yeah, and like the black one's like a 7/7
It can
with
be.
menace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Like how do you like exhume? How like do you deal with that if it gets exhumed?
right.
Yeah. Right. It can be a 7/7 menace on like turn 3 in popper. Like, yeah, I know we have some removal that can deal with that, but dear God,
Yeah.
like that just like takes care of things.
Yep.
So yeah, I think they're all good. I think they're better than the other like land cycling cards we had like
Oh yeah.
from Alora.
Hmm. No, I think so as well.
So yeah, these are all they're gonna see play somewhere. Let it be popper or like as a couple of in living end. I think
Yeah,
they'll
I don't
see
know
some
if they're
play.
quite good enough for living end, but I
Yeah, they
thought
might not be
we
with
had some land cyclers, so I figured we'd talk about them in that. I'd mention that context a little bit.
yeah. All right. So do we have a show? Is that everything?
We're done.
Oh, we made it. Made it.
We have a
Only
show.
only a 2 hour and 12-minute show. We did it.
Yeah, I'm feeling it too.
Yeah. So with all that, I think we have a show that we survived.
We survived. Let's wrap it up.
If you want to reach out to us on social media, all of those links are in the description below. Hopefully we didn't miss anything that you're like offended that we missed. But
If you're offended, let us know.
yeah, let us know. Let us know like what we should have talked about.
Yeah, we did
And
3 shows worth of cards. Hopefully we got everything.
hopefully we found your card.
Yep.
Um and yeah.
Yeah.
So
So if you're
what else
looking
we
to
got?
support the show, there's 2 ways you can do it. The first is our TCG player affiliate link. I'm sorry, not TCG. CasualTryHard.com/TCG.
There we go.
Head on over there. Anything you purchase after following that link will get a percentage to help keep the show going. If you want to support us more directly, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you can do that. You get access to our pre-show, where we did a little bit of limited content this week. I'm not sure if we're going to do any on the actual show or not. Maybe we will. But you get kind of first impressions over there. You also get access to our show notes, and you get put on my mailing list for when I have swag to send out. So head on over to patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG and chip a couple bucks in to show your support. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internets.
Catch you on the internets.